Hey everybody, hope you're having a great night. So today I'm going to walk you guys through the February passive income that I made from YouTube as well as just regular old dividends. So at the moment, the portfolio that I'm going to be talking around is about $275,000, of which the income is coming from this $168,000. I added this small area here because I always say, I have a 200-some-thousand-dollar portfolio, but then I always talk about the $170,000 of it. So the other fraction of that is in my 401k, which I don't really split out, don't talk about too much. But currently wanted to look at the increase of the sector weightage percent of the portfolio and the sector income percentage of the portfolio. You'll see a very large drastic increase in the cash wedge of the portfolio, and that was from the covered call that I sold for February 15th of this month. And that actually reminds me, within this month, I don't take into account my call income. Anyway, maybe add another $100 or so associated with that, but confuses things slightly. I didn't even think about that till just now. But anyway, back to what I was going to talk about. Large increase in the cash sector percentage of the portfolio, and then corresponding to the income, a decent large increase in the cash portion of my portfolio. Real estate, which was this tealish sort of color, previously was several points higher, but now it's only sitting around 9% in terms of total value and about 11% of total income. So slight increase associated with that. The weightage percentage associated with energy continues to go down as I strive to diversify a little bit away from that. You can see the portfolio is getting a little bit more even throughout, but there's still some areas that need attention, like consumer discretionary, materials, things along those lines. Healthcare, I think, is by far the least amount that I have. I split out ETFs, but really not too big of a deal if I don't split that out. In terms of where I'm at the moment, is this kind of greenish bar. So I'm anticipating around $7,500 this year in terms of dividend income, and then another $500 to $1,000 in terms of YouTube income, all while I'm trying to get approximately $8,500 this year in passive income. So how well did I do? Well, if you look in terms of monthly dividends, I made about $415 in total dividends for this month. So you'll see this red curve here. It's slightly bigger than most of the other months. It's actually about 100% increase over last year, which I made about $215, which can be seen in this orange here. But in this red, yeah, it got closer to $400 and some dollars. So like most of the time, my February, April's, August's, and November's are my lowest paying income months in terms of dividends. So that itself, at this point, getting closer to, I'm sorry, not April, but May, that getting closer to $400 a month means that the average of the portfolio is starting to come up, because in the previous month I made 200, or previous year I made 200. May of last year I made 300. So the fact that this is getting into the 400, 350, 350 again range is showing that the average is starting to come up, whereas last year I was averaging more in the 200 some range. Actually, this was 350 as well, but anyway, it's starting to come up, starting to even out slightly, where it used to be a lot more drastic. If you look at these oranges, it used to be 200, 200, and then 700 almost. So starting to average that out. On track for about $2,000 in terms of income this quarter. So should be getting around $900 next month in terms of dividends. But going straight into actual YouTube income, this, I believe, was my highest paying income month ever with $125. And I think the previous was last month at $100. So that's $172 or 172% increase over last year. It actually is being hidden by this scale here in the YouTube moolah by month sort of graphic that you're seeing here. So that drastically changes my forecast for the year. I kind of just put a placeholder of $50. So if I continue out the year with $50 every month, I'm looking at about $700 or so in terms of income from YouTube, which is absolutely phenomenal. And that all comes from you guys watching the channel. So at the moment, looking around an average of about $60 a month, but hoping that these averages continue to go up with the great interest in the channel and me being able to provide content to you guys that you guys keep enjoying. So that's really good. I mean, if you think about it, if I were to make, say, close to $700 this year, and let's just take my average portfolio yield, that's as if I basically invested an additional, say, 16 grand, which is the kind of the way that I look at it. The reason why I'm saying that is, you know, if I were to invest 16 grand at 4.5%, it would give me that $700. But instead, I'm getting it from YouTube, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. And you know, I love the money that I get from YouTube because I just reinvest it back into the portfolio and report on it again. And I show that to you guys generally in the videos that I make. But yeah, it's been a great month associated with the dividend income. $4,000 expected this year, coming from, I need to make this red, apologies, but about $4,000 coming from my individual brokerage account. You know, just under $2,000 coming from my IRA. That might go up if I decide to invest some of the cash that's within my IRA. But in terms of monthly dividends at the moment, I'm averaging about $500 or so a month, and that kind of has gone down over the past month or so due to the covered call that I sold. So the cash in my portfolio isn't getting as much income compared to, say, Realty Income Corporation was. And I'm intentionally sitting on a lot of cash. I don't necessarily, I was going to potentially invest it in a private REIT, but you know, a lot of people thought against it, and I'm still sort of against it as well. So I'm trying to think if I were to invest or if I should just sit on the cash and wait for a more distinct opportunity to sort of show up. But in terms of, you know, what I've actually made this month, it's the $400 or $415 plus the $120 some. So it's about $530 or so in total for the month. But going back to kind of what made me this cash, so I'm sitting on the February covered call for Realty Income Corp, so about $14,000 or so. That didn't yield me nearly as much cash as I anticipated. So I guess the cash in the individual brokerage account, guys, you don't make a lot of money off of. It's cash within your Roth IRA and stuff like that that actually shows up as a 2% or so. So keep that in mind. Same thing with my YouTube moolah account. I got about $300 in cash. On a monthly basis, 3 cents really isn't going to cut it in terms of making any money. But AbbVie, Kinder Morgan, Realty Income Corp, before I sold the covered call, you'll see that this $47 monthly goes down to about $2.46. That's because I still have about 13 shares or something like that. CQP, which is Cheniere Partners, been a great investment so far. Invested in the mid-30s. It's up around the mid-40s at this point before market decline today, so maybe it's in the low 40s again. But so far, so good. Stag Industrial, steady producer for me. Bought 100 shares, yielding about $11 a month. Now it's up to about $14 a month, so it's really good. SDLP recently cut the dividend, so this would be a $60 or so stock on a quarterly basis, but now it's down to about $6, so unfortunate for that. AT&T paid me a good chunk. Verizon paid me a great chunk. And Main Street Capital. Verizon I have in multiple parts of the portfolio, so apologies for double dipping in my Roth IRA. AbbVie again. This recently got transferred to a new transfer agent, so I need to figure out where that is. So this might be actually slightly updated, but I just kept it at last time's dividend yield. It automatically reinvests the dividends for this account, so it's probably a little slightly higher than this 517. Clorox, and then Realty Income Corp again. And same thing with Procter & Gamble. Not exactly sure what the exact share count is on that. So every couple months, once I get bored, I'll check how many shares I have over the phone and update that. And then very small amount in my Amex personal account because I moved a lot of the savings recently into my Roth for that. And that gets me about the 415. So let's look at, I'm curious now, what the stocks that I invested in last year to get me the same. Wow, a large increase. So I didn't have CQP. I didn't have half as much AT&T. What else didn't I have? I didn't have AbbVie. Had Main Street Capital. But there's that. And the Roth... Roth still Verizon only, and that's paying me. And I guess that's mostly it. I would say everything else was there. Stag. Yeah, I guess it's just an increase in my AT&T, CQP. My Realty Income Corp increased by about double. And then AbbVie. So pretty interesting. Not much change. It's more adding to the size of the ones that I own. But looking forward to next month. It'll be rather large with the dividend income. I generally have to look at these because sometimes I add a couple and it misses them. But yeah, so anticipate BP, Realty Income Corp, Phillips 66, which already paid me at the first of the month, Wells Fargo, which already paid me at the first of the month. Shell was supposed to pay me around $110 or so. Stag Industrial, sold out of my Hershey shares. Main Street Capital. BHP is supposed to be paying me. Excited for that one. And Exxon as well. Work shares that are supposed to be paying me, which haven't vested yet. And then Waste Management, what have you. So close to $922. So with YouTube income, might break the $1,000 barrier, which would be really awesome. So very curious to see how this continues to go. For those of you who've stuck around this long, sometimes I get questions about, only making $415 or so. On a monthly basis, you have to think you're not making money off of all, the $160,000 in the portfolio. Most of the time, some of those are monthly stocks like Realty Income Corp, Main Street Capital, and Stag Industrial. But most of the time, these things only pay on a quarterly basis. So you might only be making money on, say, a third of the portfolio in any given month. And as you guys can see, I don't make the same amount every month. So I mostly have my funds invested in dividend-paying stocks that pay in the third month of every quarter. So kind of keep that aspect of things in mind. So yeah, not exactly sure what the total portfolio value is that paid me in terms of stocks in February timeframe, but it's generally speaking my lower paying dividend month, the second month of every quarter. So anyway, really excited. The ball keeps rolling in terms of the dividend growth and everything along those lines. Slight step back with selling the cover call for Realty Income Corp, but still have all the cash, so it's not like I lost a lot of fuel that I could add onto the fire. But being cautious about adding additional stocks just for adding stocks, rather wait to get an appropriate opportunity. Okay, thanks guys. Hope to talk to you guys soon. Shoot me with any comments in the comment section down below, and I will talk to you guys in another video.